Okay, today I'm going to go over how to create a model for the STK solar panel tool. For this, we're going to use SOLIDWORKS, Blender, and Notepad++. We start out in SOLIDWORKS. I just made a very simple model. The important things to note here are the solar cells are separate from the solar panel. You want this because we only want to analyze the solar cells as their only thing that will be collecting power. The other thing is my frame is very simple. The frame can pretty much be whatever you want. However, if you do have a file with other components in it, such as a thruster, battery, you want to delete those out. We want this as simple as possible and to only have the frame, panels, and solar cells. So once you have your model, we'll go to File, Save As. We'll go to STL. You're going to want to make sure you save this in its own separate folder from everything else. And before saving it, go to Options. Make sure the units are in meters. That is what Blender scales things to. The resolution has to be fine. And this save all components of assembly in a single file. You want this to be unchecked. If it is checked, then it'll save all the cells, panels, and Cubsat as one thing, and that is not what you want. Okay, so save it. Just click yes. Now we can go into Blender. So let me open it. We're gonna have a general file. You can delete that. We're gonna go to Import STL. Find the file you saved everything in. So I go to Home, Desktop, Cubesat model. Highlight everything. Again, this is why you want it to be in its own folder. That way you have everything together. You don't have any extra files you do not need. You can just highlight it and then import it in. So now I gotta fix the axes so it's oriented the same the way I want into STK. Really quick, I'm gonna show you how STK orients things. So this is just a model that STK had already in it. The x-axis is pointed along the green line. The y-axis is coming out of the side. And the z-axis is pointed down towards the earth. So there's two ways to orient things in Blender. For this, I'm going to show you both ways. So one of the things I want is I want my x-axis coming out of this small face here. So the first way I go about this is I highlight everything and I come to this icon here, which allows me to, this one allows me to rotate the model. So I want to rotate it about the z-axis. So I go like that. It doesn't matter how much I move it because this pops up down here. It's on the z-axis and I want it to rotate it 90 degrees. All right, once that's good, I want to move my object to be centered. So I go down and then I go over until it's in the middle. Then I come up here, make sure it's good on this side. It is not. Again, I put it in the middle. And as you can see, now everything is good. So highlight everything, come up to Object, Set Origin, and set the origin of the cursor. That makes this thing go back. The z-axis is pointed up here. As we mentioned in STK, the z-axis, the positive z-axis points down to the Earth. We want our solar panels in the negative z-axis. You can either rotate it as I showed you, or the second method is when you save this. So we're going to save, export to GAE. They have this global orientation here. So I'm just going to make this negative z. You could have done this with the forward axis as well. However, I decided to show you guys how to rotate it. And we're going to save this into the same folder I had. And you have to rename it Cubsat model. Okay. From here, everything that we did in Blender is now done. And now we go to Notepad++. So let's go to File, Open. The GAE file is right here. So close everything. And then expand on the library visual scene. So this program is how we're going to identify the solar cell efficiency. So some important features of Notepad++ is these nodes. These nodes kind of sandwich things together. As you can see, it starts out with node, and then when it's ending it, it has a dash in front of it. So we're going to want to only change the code for these cells. So this is for the SAT. This is for the frame. These are the arrays. And the cells start here. So I'm going to group all the cells together. So I'm going to press Enter and write node. And then, okay. And then I'm going to scroll down to the last cell. Double click. I'm going to put node here. Now these are all grouped together. I'm going to add the code that identifies it. I have it saved in here, so I'm just going to copy this. Command C, close, put it right in here. This is not necessary. Okay. So what this is it has extra, it creates an attachment point. The technique is for AGI, so STK can recognize it. And then we go into solar panels. This group name is solar panels. You can make this whatever you want, and you set the efficiency. I'm going to actually change this to 28 just because I feel like that's what most solar cells are. Another thing to note is, so if I click the node here, it is attached up here. If I wanted to analyze the solar cells separately, like say I wanted to analyze the ones on the left, the ones on the right, I would do the exact same thing, but separate them. For this case, I'm going to group them all together. And that's why I have them sandwiched all together. Okay, so that's all you need to do in Notepad++. We're going to go to File and Save. So now we go into STK. As I mentioned, this is not the model we want. So we're going to change it now. We're going to go to Properties. I'm going to go to Model. We're going to search my documents for documents. Okay, let's go to desktop. Open, and we're going to hit apply. Okay, as you can see, the model's in. We have it, the solar panels pointed up. All right, so how do we know if this actually worked? The way we're going to test it out is we're going to go to satellite, solar panel. Tell that these solar panels are actually being recognized is one, it says solar panels here. If they weren't, it probably wouldn't have anything in there, or it would have the wrong name if your model didn't load correctly at all. The other way is when you start running it, you can see here that everything in red is what is being recognized as a solar cell. So that's another way you can tell. Okay, well, that is the end of this tutorial. Thank you and have a great day.